Mayor Moriarty, you said that you would create a do not call list for officers that have lied in court. I wanted to first ask you, how long do you think that no call list would be right now? And then lastly, how would you pivot from being a public defender to being a prosecutor? 90 seconds.
So 6-7 years ago, the Minneapolis Police Department was part of the national initiative. They were one of 6 police departments, and I invited myself to go to procedural justice training. It was me and 20 cops one Saturday. And we were at 3 different tables, and right before we started, a lieutenant who was at my table said, "This is fucking bullshit and a fucking waste of my fucking time." And then he sabotaged every small table thing we tried to do, and then later in the day, they were all asked, "What are your goals for the next year?" And this guy stood up and said, "I want to maintain the warrior mentality because that's why I became a cop." And I knew right then and there, this is a cultural problem. It's not a bad apple problem, it's a cultural problem. And it's going to take a lot of people, not just MPD, to make this work. And the do not call list has to be part of it. That if police leadership won't hold people accountable, if the post board, which is their licensing board, has no teeth, prosecutors need to step up to the plate, and I will not call certain police officers. I have a few seconds left to talk about how will I pivot as a public defender. I actually, as a public defender, have had a better view of the system than anybody else. I've watched prosecutors. And prosecutors often see things, they think there's somebody who's a perpetrator and somebody who's a stereotypical victim, and they never cross. And I don't look at it that way. I see everybody's humanity, and I know I'm out of time there, so thank you.
Okay, and lastly, Jarvis, well, Mary, if you want to finish up, just give us 30 more seconds, because we gave extra time to Simon and Swati.
So yeah, human beings are complex. The clients I represented over a period of years, I did social histories on, and they were victims. They were harmed themselves. And had we intervened early on in their lives, they probably would have been sitting next to me. They were the victims. And so lots of victims that come in end up being sitting next to me because their trauma is never addressed. And so I bring with me a more complex, nuanced understanding of who the people are that are in the system and how we need to interrupt their trauma so that they don't, especially youth, continue to cycle in and out of the system.